I'm Stephen John Drew from Walking the Walking Dead, a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You have been granted clearance by Director Phil Coulson. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Agent Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
I'm Agent Lauren.
I am Intern Ferris.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a Marvel Comic Universe podcast. This is podcast number 86 on Daredevil Season 1, Episode 11, The Path of the Righteous. This podcast is recorded on Wednesday, August 19th, 2015. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Agent Carter, Marvel's Daredevil on Netflix, and the general Marvel Comic Universe.
Because you shouldn't be here.
If you shouldn't be here, but you'd like to get in touch with us, you can find all of our contact information on our website, legendsofshield.com. We have a voicemail line, 844-THE-BUS-1. That's 844-843-2871.
I missed the bus.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. And we have forums available, forums.gonnageek.com, or you can search for Gonna Geek on the Tapatalk app.
Today on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we will welcome back Ferris. We will talk about our next giveaway that's going on right now. We'll talk about Daredevil, The Path of the Righteous. We'll talk about your weekly Marvel news and your feedback. First of all, before we do anything, I have to welcome Ferris back. Thank you very much for playing with us this summer. We enjoy having you on each and every time. It has been a blast.
Thank you for having me. Do I get my lanyard now?
I might.
It depends. Where's my coffee?
I'll be right over.
Does it have to be in a S.H.I.E.L.D. mug?
Hey, tonight's appearance once again is brought to you by Marvel Unlimited and Yingling Lager.
And yes, folks, he is absolutely not getting paid for those little tidbits of free advertising. Hey, I need to take a moment, and I need to have a little bit of a shout out to a friend of the cast, Mr. Hayden. He is in the hospital in Texas, and he's listening to us at this very moment. I just want to say, hang in there, buddy. We're all thinking about you. You need to get better, and we will be there with you. So thank you very much for listening, sir.
Hang in there. Be well.
Yeah, get better.
Feel better, dude.
This illness is unacceptable.
Hey,
beat it and resume to your healthy, prosperous existence.
And while you're sitting there, just, watching Sesame Street or whatever you're doing there, buddy, you can think of a great review for Ant-Man. Funny review. I know you got it in it. Just have some, like your mom or somebody, tweet it to us, and we will enter you in to the Ant-Man Marvel Crate giveaway, which we've got going on for the next few weeks. Right, Haley?
Yeah, and I've already gotten my Ant-Man crate, and there's some pretty sweet stuff in there.
Oh, there is. So, Lauren, what do they have to do to enter into the Ant-Man Marvel Crate?
Well, what you need to do is get a hold of us. Tweet, Facebook, email, call, whatever, and give us your funny Ant-Man review. You need to make us laugh. And the one that makes us laugh the hardest, the one that we think is funniest, is going to win the crate.
Absolutely. So it's all ready to be shipped out. I can ship anywhere in the world. Matter of fact, I think I have a contact that might be able to ship it off-world. So if you're at some secret base on a different planet or whatever, I can still get it to you. So please get us your Ant-Man funny reviews. You can tweet us, email, Facebook, whatever. Voicemail would be great. Just get them to us, and we will enter you in the giveaway. Okay, so this week we rounded the last turn, I would say, in the Daredevil season with The Path of the Righteous. And aside from it being kind of slow,
I watched it last night about this time. I don't think it's over yet. I think it's still going on somewhere on Netflix out there.
well, I don't know. That it was a pretty dramatic ending.
Yeah, well, as I said in my notes, this is an episode where nothing happens until it does.
Yeah, but everything happened. I mean, they said it. It was supposed to be Karen's bye-bye episode. I mean, her saying her last time with everybody and being so sad and everything's falling apart, and then she gets kidnapped and the gun comes out and she's drugged so she can't hold the gun up, and it's like, yeah, she's not going to last. And then she does. So, do you think that's the first time she shot somebody, or do you think that was a bluff she said?
Yes.
I think it's
was
definitely the
bluffing.
first time she shot someone.
Well, I mean, she definitely knew how to handle the gun. She wasn't doing the thing where she was pointing and clicking it. I mean, she knew how to engage the weapon.
Wesley tried to bluff, though. It didn't work.
He did a good job.
That was an excellent, for a final monologue, that was pretty intense.
I love how Wesley on this one, I mean, aside from the fact that he's tying her up, kidnapping her, torturing her, he's in such corporate public relations mode. I want you to recant your negative opinions. Like, if she hadn't shot him, I'm sure at some point he would have been talking about social media strategy.
Well, yeah, she was shortly going to be on the payroll. One way or the other, if she left, she would be assumed to have been on the payroll. That would have been interesting.
But, as they allude to back at the hospital, everybody is spread a little bit thin this week, and Wesley is just a little bit distracted. And unfortunately, that's all it took.
Adam in the chat has a good opinion here. He said there should have been a Nick Fury cameo in this episode. I think that would have brought the episode up a little bit.
Right. Well, given the title of this one, it had to have been a reference.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So what did everybody think about? Haley, what did you think about the episode?
I agree. The pacing of this one is slow. It's kind of a deep breath before the big final showdown. I do like when Wesley is talking to Karen and he asks, "Do you love this city?" That is the big similarity between our hero and our villain in this show, is that they do both love the city. It's just they have very different ideas of what they're going to do.
Yeah, they do, and the basic morals underneath it are different. I mean, they're acting similar to a point, but it diverges when it comes to actually taking action.
Yeah, I mean, as we get another conversation with Father Flotsky. I know
Love
that's
that.
not his real name.
Love that. They finally just come to terms with it. It's like, yeah, I know who you are.
I'm not an idiot.
And it's not as memorable or quotable as the last one, but in it, Murdoch reveals that he knows what he's doing is wrong, and to us it doesn't seem that wrong, but he is so profoundly conflicted about it, more so than I don't think I'm going out on a limb to say that the Daredevil or that the Kingpin is not thinking twice about what he does, but part of what is holding Murdoch back is the fact that he knows he's breaking some rules, and he's kind of enjoying it, but maybe 51% enjoying, or maybe 49% enjoying it, and maybe 51 not.
I love the rooftop interrogation. I love it. They bring that character back. What's his name? His name's escaping me right now. The one that sold the bad guns.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
I didn't even
but
know
it's
he had
that
a
one
name.
dude.
It-
No, he
it-
has a name.
It
I
starts
just
with a
can't remember
T,
it.
I think. And Travis, I can't remember. Anyway,
No.
Tito,
maybe whatever.
That's racist.
Shrilbson Rose.
He gets interrogated, and at first you're like, okay, he doesn't know anything, but then every time Daredevil takes it a step further, he tells him, so he knows everything. He's fully connected with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
What I loved probably most about this episode was it kind of connects back to the conversation with the priest. Okay, you
Kirk.
have that, and you have Matt with this whole crisis of faith there. And then you cut back again to the hospital, and you have sort of the dark inverse of that, with Fisk having his little monologue as he's talking to, Vanessa's unconscious body.
Yep.
And he's saying that he tried to believe when he was a kid and he never could. And you have that character who's like devout, and he, has all this guilt because of what he's doing. And this character who, he doesn't, he's like the polar opposite of that.
And Ben's one line in this episode that was just great. Oh, this is the point where the story is getting interesting. It's like, yeah, okay, it's been a ride to get here, but the next 2 episodes are just going to be phenomenal. And just Ben calls it out. He's like, yeah, I've seen this before. We're about to get some explosion. Heading in.
Without getting too far into it, how do you think the series finishes? Do you think it finishes well?
There's the iconic battle, coming up between Fisk and Daredevil, where Daredevil is actually suited up, right? Mm-hmm. And after that, I remember seeing Vanessa taking off in the helicopter, and I remember Fisk in the cell. That's what I remember about the final at this point.
I'm of the mind that the series starts a lot stronger than it finishes, which is not to say that it's bad at the end, but I mean, the beginning is some iconic, groundbreaking, exciting, gripping stuff, and there's a long slog at the end. And I don't think the ultimate fight, we won't discuss exactly what that is, but the ultimate end fight, I don't think is necessarily close to as good as what we see at the beginning.
Well, it's not necessarily the conclusion. You're going to get a season 2 at the point where you saw the series. I think they had greenlit a season 2, so you knew that was coming. Fisk is in Kingpin is the main part of the whole thing, so they have to meet again sometime around. Gao is definitely part of the Marvel universe. You're going to see her again. I think Leland's exit, and we'll talk about that in a couple episodes, but I think Leland's exit is probably the high point of that episode. But you're going to see all these people again, so it's not necessarily ending, it's just pausing until they can catch their breath and go to round 2 for season 2.
But I think it does feel like they kind of started to pause before the last episode. Like the pace slowed down, they kind of took their foot off the gas, because at the beginning it was just constantly getting hit with stuff. But that probably has more to do with the fact that they had to build this universe and build these characters out.
True. And so I looked into who wrote the episode. Stephen Estenite co-wrote it with Douglas Petrie, who are executive producers on the series. Of course, Stephen Estenite was a showrunner for season 1. And it was directed by Nick Gomez, who is a jack of all trades, basically. He's been involved in a lot of stuff, but like 1 or 2 episodes, I think one of the series that he was most involved in was Flash Forward. But having Stephen Estenite and Douglas Petrie write this episode, they definitely had a feel for what was going to happen and how they were going to go about doing it. So this is definitely a setup episode, and they knew it from the get-go that what they were doing, in my opinion.
So, all in all, I love the beginning of this. This is good. I'm not trashing Daredevil as the series, but at the end of the series, Winter Soldier is still my all-time #1 favorite Marvel joint by far. I thought at the beginning of Daredevil that this would have caught up with it, or maybe tied with it, but as it went on, it's maybe #2, 3, but for me, the champ is still Winter Soldier.
I feel like Marvel had a really good
stuff here.
Yeah, I feel like Marvel had a really good year last year, because Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy are probably my top 2, and then this is probably #3.
I have a feeling that next year with Civil War will be everybody's favorite when that happens. I just have a feeling, and that is not a reference to Guardians of the Galaxy. But I do. Think that there is a tremendous amount of buildup, and because of the expansion of the universe, because we're going to get your Spider-Man cameo, possibly some other cameos along the way. I think Black Panther is going to be in that too, right? So you're you're building up to that, and I think that's. But we're not there yet, and I can't remember where Daredevil season 2 is supposed to air in conjunction with that. If it's going to be before or after, but it's going to be at the tail end of season 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I assume is going to be awesome. And you're going to have the season 2 of Agent Carter behind you. So there's going to be a build-up for that. I think that's going to be a little bit unprecedented because everybody's going to be... So could everybody be disappointed? Maybe. But I think for you all that loved Winter Soldier, I think Civil War is going to be your next big movie.
I hope so.
Ditto.
And for what it is worth, just quick tangent, Stars, the channel, has been running Guardians of the Galaxy constantly all summer. Holds up very well. Very rewatchable movie.
Yeah. So, Lauren, what was your favorite part of the episode? Was it the Fisk talking to Vanessa at the end?
Honestly, it's pretty much any part with Wesley. I can't hate that guy. He's just too genial, you know? He's an evil Hufflepuff, and I dig that. And also, the more I watch, the more I'm absolutely convinced that, like, the way that he was playing the character, that the actress playing the character is like, okay, so my character is absolutely in love with Wilson Fisk.
Yes.
And this is how he's showing. You saw it too, right?
Yes,
Totally
I was going to
saw it.
actually ask you if you had seen any Wesley Fisk / fic and how much of it there was.
Art. A lot of like meta stuff on Tumblr. But yeah, just...
I believe my
he's
exact note was kiss already.
Yes, basically. He's like, okay, our love can never be, but I will still, 100% be there for this guy, like totally there for him. And I'm absolutely convinced that he was in love with Fisk.
I love the way Wesley took care of Fisk's mom in the way he talked to her on the phone and everything. It seemed like it was like the one genuine conversation he had where he was...
Yeah, see, he's not a bad guy. It's just that okay, I can't really defend him.
No, he's a bad guy.
He's done some pretty heinous stuff. Okay, he's a bad guy. He's not a terrible guy, maybe.
He's not a good guy.
Yeah, God. Okay, no, he is a bad guy.
Is he a righteous guy?
No.
He's not the righteous man.
No.
Is he the penitent man?
Oh, God, no. No. He is definitely not passing, okay?
Is he objectively wrong?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
He's objectively wrong because he's working on the wrong side there. But, no, it's just, it's like he's such a cool dude, and he's so loyal, and he cares about Fisk's mom, and he's just trying to make everything go so well. It's just that he's kind of terrible about how he's doing it, and he's completely on the wrong side. And also there's that part where he threatens people to, like, kill their daughters and things like that.
Well, he does kind of kidnap Karen a little bit, right?
Kind of.
Oh, yeah, that too.
A little bit, yeah.
Does he sort of brutalize her a little bit? Did I remember that right?
Yeah.
I don't.
was that
I don't like
implied?
that.
Is he the one that did it, or did he have I guess he would have to be the one that did it because there was nobody else with him.
Yeah. No, he acted like an idiot and went out on his own and did all this stuff use the buddy system, people. It's common sense. You tell someone where you're going. You use the same rule with your supervillainy as you do when you go hiking, okay? You tell someone where you're going and you bring a buddy. That way, when you go missing spontaneously, you don't end up either with your arm pinned in a rock for like a week or shot in an alley with no one finding you until like they stumble across your cell phone.
Did you see Karen's face light up when she's like, "You didn't tell Fisk"? She was like, "I know my way out now."
That was great. That was great. I mean, good on you, Karen. Good on you.
And then it went a little bit long in between that realization and the final act of her shooting Wesley.
Well, to be fair, she was like drugged or stun gunned or whatever happened.
Oh, she was very much drugged. But, I mean, she had trouble holding up the gun. It was amazing that it was so steady and like that. I mean, you could tell it was pain in her face trying to, and she was almost falling asleep and stuff like that. But as a viewer, you see her realize that, and then it's almost too long to the time that she shoots him, to the point where you're like, you almost forget that she knows that this is her way out. So, I don't know, very well done, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And there was action. We talked about the interrogation on the rooftop. They also had the Potter interrogation and the whole thing with Betsy and everything. I think we came to a realization on that, didn't we, Lauren?
Yes. Okay, so
Now, can we jump in before we discuss Lauren in more detail? Potter is clearly brain damaged or something, right?
he seems, he very much seems to be. He's not 100% all there, and it really does seem to be like brain damage or something.
Now,
I mean, we're not sure.
I'm still catching up on my Daredevil reading. Is there a storyline where he's been damaged? Not just out of the game, but wounded?
Okay, so I've so far only read one comic with Gladiator in it, and that is Daredevil 166 in the Frank Miller and
Is that the one that introduces him?
no, he's been in it before, but it's in this collection that I got.
Is he speaking like a Roman?
And he's like trying to be like, he thinks he's in like old Roman times. And
Okay, that's early on in the character. They dropped that pretty quickly.
the comic's called Till Death Do Us Part.
Frank Miller, if you're out there, thank you for not sticking with that.
And Frank Miller, in all fairness, only drew this. Somebody else wrote it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
he almost
takes
left
his
the
girlfriend.
comics back when he was just the artist because the stories were so bad.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, why don't you just do the whole thing? He was like, okay.
So he takes his girlfriend out to a museum, and then that is when Gladiator, Melvin Potter, busts out because they think he's a statue, and he's waiting for his social worker, for his parole officer, to come in with a bunch of kids. And then he tries to like kidnap her and be like, I knew you loved me and stuff like that. And Daredevil, who's there on a date, is like, no. And funny little thing that I noticed this time around now that I've read this comic. Oh, did I mention that Betsy is the new social worker? Because that part's kind of important.
Yeah, no, you haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, well, Betsy is the name of the social worker. He keeps calling her Miss Betsy. And I watched that and I'm like, wait a minute. And I went and I checked and yeah. So in the fight, he throws this like buzzsaw blade and it sticks in the wall and the camera focuses on it for a second.
Yes.
Yeah, that's part of his costume.
Yep, that's always been part of his
that's
costume.
his
He's
thing.
got saw blades.
He's got these like saw blades on his forearms and they just kind of shoot out.
Because that's practical.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This issue is also Foggy's wedding.
It works a
and he's wearing
lot.
this horrific suit.
It looks a lot more plausible in the comics.
It doesn't look plausible at all in the comics. And yet somehow it looks more plausible than Foggy's wedding suit.
This is filtered through my 10, 11-year-old initial impression of it. So in my mind, it looked plausible in the comics. But maybe I should look at it a little bit more closely.
In all honesty, it's a terrible costume.
Yeah, it's not good.
I've read his origin, and then I think I've read a couple issues with him later. But I don't know if he's as damaged as he is in this show, but he is just kind of dumb and delusional.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, they shake off like that weirdness later on. I mean, he surfaces during the Elektra saga and does some fairly heavyweight stuff, and he winds up on Team Murdoch for a while. And yeah, he's in and out of the game.
So you got some definitely Easter eggs in this episode, and we'll see how they materialize because Potter didn't go away. He's not killed. As a matter of fact, he kind of helps Matt get his suit.
Yep.
With the material nobody has ever seen before.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so as thin...
And Claire was right. Claire was right. She said, you got to get yourself some body armor. He said, no, I don't want body armor.
No, he's like, I'm thinking about it. And then he like does nothing.
But he meditates, right? He meditates.
But he meditates.
And it gets better. Meditates and you get better. That's the key. Yeah.
Yep. Well, we finally got to see him shirtless again, in all his mangled glory.
Claire
Well,
even
there are
mentioned
larger forces at work,
Claire
There are
even
things that-
mentions it. She's
There are
like,
things that want him to heal and things that want him to be shirtless.
well, Claire mentions it, right? She's like, oh, at least I get to see you shirtless again.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, when Karen comes into the apartment and she's like, okay, first of all, that was no car accident. Second of all, she's thinking it. She never says it. What the hell happened in this place?
Yeah. Like, seriously, his place and him in general are a mess.
Oh, and then on the other hand, Foggy's getting it on with his old ex.
Right.
Yeah, and she's like, what's going on? Oh, wait, I don't care.
I don't care. That was awesome.
I kind of love
She's terrible,
that.
but we love her. Yeah.
Lock the door.
Does it seem like they just kind of dropped the thing they were building between Karen and Foggy?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think that broke
There
last
might be
episode.
more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that
Shame,
broke.
because they were so cute.
Yeah, they broke in the last episode when Foggy had the big thing of Matt come in front of him. And, he left the office. He threw the sign in the trash, and he took his box that he took from the law firm, took his dinosaurs, and he went home. I don't know if he went home, but he
He went to Josie's.
yeah.
Well, Marcy's, then Josie's.
Or Josie's and Marcy's and Josie's.
Something like, yeah.
Yeah.
There were multiple bad decisions involved.
What would be great if not a real crossover, if we just saw the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. crew go into Josie's bar or something.
That'd be
after a mission.
awesome.
Nice.
And with Josie behind the bar, even?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Hey, again, Marvel, these two ladies are available for writing purposes, one-shots, little cameos, that sort of thing. Right, ladies?
Script
Seriously,
touch-up.
Marvel, pay
I
me.
mean, me, not so much for the writing, just like ideas and then someone else do wordy things with them. But yeah,
I can totally write.
you do the wordy parts. Okay.
I'll do the wordy parts.
Go team...
Whatever. We'll think of a name later. Lauren,
As long
get
as
on that.
we mentioned Foggy, actor Eldon Henson, his random appearance of the week for me was in Idle Hands, the 90s
Yes.
horror movie.
Yes.
He's always popping up somewhere.
Yeah. He's in that. He's in Butterfly Effect. He's in She's All That. Of course, the Mighty Ducks.
Oh, yeah. I love that movie. Because
Movies. It's a series.
Because it was, well, the first one, because I played in all those rinks that are in the first one. Half those rinks don't, ice rinks, they don't exist anymore. But I remember, like Aldrich Arena and stuff.
Really?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I played in all of them. Some of them look like old bomb shelters or whatever. And they call them barns, right? But there's no barn about it. It's like this concrete and steel tomb with asbestos in the roof and that sort of thing, but with terribly inefficient coolers for the ice. But we're getting beyond our point. Mighty Ducks, great series, love it. Okay, so the whole time in the ER, now the doctor, Rosenberg, I believe his name is that a comic book character? I didn't catch the reference if it
Dr.
was.
Rose?
Yeah, Rose. Is that, I don't know if he's in the comics or not. Anybody know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
It just came out of nowhere, right? So, yeah, he's in Hartford. He's on the jet. He'll be here. And it's like, okay, I don't know this guy. What does it matter? I mean, is he going to go down to Fisk and do something with her or make Vanessa a supervillain in between series or something? I don't know. All
I
right.
do not know.
We don't know. Now, Vanessa, I will point out, in the Daredevil comics, Vanessa being laid up is a trope of the Daredevil stories. I mean, she is always dead, disappeared, disabled.
The supporting female characters in a lot of the comics, it's kind of a trend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the I mean, in this one she comes off pretty well. I mean, the various disappearances and alleged demises really strain credulity in the comic book. Haley, if you're still reading the Frank Miller stuff, you will.
I haven't gotten
You'll
there
see
yet,
what I
actually.
mean very soon. So yeah, so I mean, Vanessa being knocked out of the game for a little bit, and Kingpin doing some soul searching. That is a staple of any major Daredevil story. And all in all, Vanessa in this particular one does not wind up treated too shabbily, because some of them, ugh.
Yeah. Hey, Lauren, you got anything for the episode that we haven't discussed already?
No, I think I covered most of what I wanted to talk about.
Ferris, do you have anything?
No, I think we touched on a lot of it.
Yeah, I think we did. Haley, you
This,
got
that.
you got
You
anything?
know what? Some of the have you heard people complain about the acting in Daredevil?
No, I
No?
have not heard that at all.
Not at all.
Have you heard that though?
Yeah, some people have said that to me. They said that early on, and I thought it was unfair. But as I watched this one, I think it's. I don't know if I want to say unique, but it is certainly a confluence of the digital video, the daytime shots, the particular acting, and some of the editing choices make some of the acting in this seem clunky to me.
It's not even whole characters or whole episodes, but there are certain scenes where certain actors, you'll be like, they are acting really, really hard, and it's not coming across well.
I mean, did any of you pick up on that in this episode?
You know, okay, so the first time I watched it, I was getting to the apathy point near this point because, you know, I watched it in 2 days, and this is both meant to be watched in the true Netflix mainlining fashion and not. And I've said it before, I'm glad we're watching it week by week because it gives us a chance to spread it out a little bit and take one episode at a time and really enjoy it and integrate it and dissect it and that sort of thing. Yeah, watching it on the treadmill, if I wasn't on the treadmill, I might have had to pause it and walk around a little bit, maybe, you know, get a drink or something like that. So I can see where you're coming from in this particular episode, but on the other hand, I know what's coming, and it was a transition episode. That's the only way I can think of it.
And every series has them. I understand.
And there was this whole set. I mean, it was a setup. I mentioned it before. The whole thing about Karen being set up to die at the end of the episode, and then it turns around and she actually shoots Wesley, who you would think would be too smart to get shot, but yeah, apparently not.
I wonder if we've seen the last of that. I mean, that seems, you know, on one hand like they're done with it, but on the other hand, that's the kind of secret that tends to
come out eventually,
not die,
like the hammer, like the taking the hammer to a dad sort of thing. Yeah, yeah, I guess. So Haley, what do you got?
Okay. Let me check. I'm checking for things that aren't quotes first.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was during this episode in particular when Leland and Wesley were talking. At that point, I thought Wesley might be the rat.
Yeah. Because you don't know. You don't know if it's Gal, Leland. Yeah, you don't know if it's... It could have been Matt. Could have been Foggy. Who knows?
I feel like if Gao had done it, she'd be dead. Gao doesn't mess around.
No, but if you don't know the characters, poison is not necessarily a manly weapon. But
right.
Then again, Wesley and Leland, it's debatable on whether they are or not. I mean, in terms of, you know, a man's man, you know, superhero. Oh, because you don't see either of those two ever really in a fight. So, anyway.
Okay, not really any funny quotes in this episode. Not a lot of laughing in this episode. So, don't you know who I am?
I don't care. Fill out these forms. That was kind of like, really? I don't think that's what would happen, but okay. Good on the nurse for taking charge.
No, nobody knows who you are. That's the entire point.
We don't say your name.
Old habits, sorry.
Yeah.
Where's Wesley? Wesley's not here, man. By the way, this is not Karen Page. Click. You know,
And then-
Rosario has a good quote that I really liked this week. She says, "The martyrs, the saints, the sinners, they all end up bloody and alone."
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one.
Yep. And then, let's see. These are also from Ms. Claire Temple. It'll always be something, someone. And then she describes him as the man this city created.
Yes, that was an interesting thing. Like you were saying, the city needs you, but I think also the city has created you. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
And that's about... Oh, it'd be nice if you and Mac could get your heads out of your asses.
True. Yeah, and it was the whole thing. Did you see him tell him? No, never mind. And Foggy was like, "Yeah, it's all his fault. It's personal. It's personal."
I love Drunk Foggy.
Drunk Foggy's pretty great.
Which is like half the series so far, really.
Yeah, you know, I mean, speaking of Matt being alone, Matt is alone, but from time to time, I mean, Matt gets a lot of action. And compared to Matt, Foggy does not as much, but Foggy usually has a girlfriend. I mean, Foggy does pretty well for himself, too.
Foggy Bear.
So, I mean, you know, him having his thing with his hot lawyer friend, that's not an isolated thing. He normally has a girlfriend, and she's normally pretty formidable. So, yeah, the both of them do pretty well. I mean, Foggy might not think that he can compare to Matt's steady schedule, but Foggy does pretty well, too.
Well, it is New York, so there's a high density of people, and, you know, you got the whole superhero Tinder going on, too. So, I mean... Are you out, Haley, or you got some more?
That's it.
Yeah.
Not a super quotable episode, really.
So maybe the least favorite episode that we've seen so far?
Yeah, it's not one of my favorites.
Yeah, probably. It is, you know, people have described other ones as transition episodes. This is really the transition episode of the series.
All right.
But it sure ends well, huh?
Yeah.
Well, a transition in a third act. I think we can go back to like episodes 1 through 4 being the first act, episode 5 being the transition, episode 6 through 10 being the second act, and now we're transitioning to the final act.
Yeah.
It's how I would say it. So.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
All right. So if we're done with that, next week we will be talking about episode 12, The Ones We Leave Behind. Ferris.
Penultimate episode.
Yes, the penultimate. I was going to get to that. And you jumping the gun on me, Ferris, but that's okay. I'm glad you said it, sir, because you deserve to say it. So, Ferris, this will be your last Daredevil episode with us, but you're always welcome back later on for Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter. And
I need to catch up, but it's always a blast. Really love talking with you guys and you ladies.
And we might be seeing you later this season in the Starling Tribune on Arrow and stuff too, right?
Oh yes, certainly. I'm going to catch up on that.
All right.
I've been watching it from the get-go, and I don't think this season was necessarily the best, but I was pretty well caught up with it the entire time. So apparently, I liked it more than I did the first two. So. I've just contradicted myself. I think it was the best season.
I enjoyed it.
Looking forward to what they do.
Yeah.
If I can just keep up with the 27 different commercial or superhero shows that the CW has.
Crazy. And now you got Supergirl and everything. I'm wondering which is going to be the first one to fall. That'll be the question. Do you have you want to place a bet on that, Ferris, or do you want to think about that a little bit more?
Man, let me think. Arrow is going so well, it's hard to imagine them.
But Warner Brothers has stripped them of every single thing that they've come up with that's great.
Yeah, so Arrow kind of seems the flagship, but Flash is eclipsing it. You know, I think in some ways the Flash is a better show already. I'm scared, you know, as I've theorized, you know, it seems to me that the Flash has so much going on in it. It seems like the producers are scared that the Justice League movie is going to come along and wipe away everything.
Yeah.
So they're just using everything at their disposal as soon as they can.
Can I back up a second? Because
Yes.
Constantine was the first one to fall. So we
Oh
have,
yeah, there was a Constantine
yeah,
show.
but Constantine is going to be back on air. So the question is, what's going to be the next one, Marvel or DC? Which is going to be the next one to fall? So we'll get back to that. How about that?
Yeah, and Legends of Tomorrow. I mean, that is such a. I mean, it's amazing that show even exists. You know, how long can that sustain itself? I hope a long, long time, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it on the other podcast.
Sounds
Stay
good.
tuned. Same bat time, same bat
A
channel.
lot of great stuff on the Good and Geek Network, like Starling Tribune and Crimson Comet, right, Haley?
Yeah.
All right.
Ferris was just on an episode of Crimson Comet.
Awesome. Can't wait to listen to it.
Yes, I was. That was fun.
So, but also we have other creative activities going on betweenst us, don't we, Lauren?
Yeah. So I may not be a published author like our esteemed Ferris here, but I'm trying this experiment where to get myself to finish something, I'm posting it weekly. And right now, if any of y'all have any interest in historical novels or fairy tales or just seeing what I could do writing-wise, I'm putting a link in the show notes, or you could go to Wattpad and look up L.W. Salinas. It's L-W-S-A-L-I-N-A-S, and look up But an Earlier Heaven. And it's a sort of medieval action fairy tale type thing that I'm working on. And I'd be kind of glad if y'all would take a look and tell me how you're liking it. It updates every Friday. So far, there's only one chapter.
Every Friday so far.
Every Friday.
Well, you
I
are going to
have
be
like
doing it
13
weekly?
I'm sorry. I have 15 chapters written, but this is just kind of an excuse for me to kind of keep at a schedule. So.
Well, you know what, Lauren? You know what writers do? They write.
I was going to say get into arguments on Twitter, but
Well, they do that too. But I mean, like the kind of crucial thing that distinguishes a writer from somebody that talks about writing and is not a writer is the actual writing thing.
oh yeah,
So
I know
you
that.
have done
It's just
what
trying to focus on the
99%
one
of aspiring
story.
writers do not do. Like you're doing it.
Yeah,
You're
it's
right.
just trying to focus on the one story instead of like, oh, and then I need to work on this. Oh, and then I want to work on this.
Squirrel.
And then so I have 50 projects and none of them get done.
You know what I like about this? It's like Charles Dickens, right? Back in the day, was it weekly that he published in the paper, or was it daily? I can't remember.
Serial action.
Yeah, I love that. It's great, Lauren. I love this way to get content.
Yeah,
out.
I'm also going to be publishing on Juke Pop, but there's a like a waiting period on there. So it's going to be updating at the same rate either way.
And-
Excellent. Well, congratulations and good luck. And seriously, I mean, the majority of people that want to be writers and talk about writing, they say, well, you know, I want to do this thing and I'm thinking about this thing. And when I do this thing, it's going to be like this. Well, you know, you're just talking and a dog can talk. And you know, maybe it's purposeful talking and it's helping you focus and it's part of your process or whatever. But until you actually say, and not say, until you actually sit down and start writing some things, you're not a writer. And right now you are a writer, so keep doing it.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely. All right, that'll close off the Daredevil section, and we're going to get into some news. It wasn't an incredibly big news week, but we did have some incredibly big stories. And the first, I don't know whether to give this to Lauren or Haley, but we had some Miss Atwell. I'm going to let the two of you figure out who to talk about this.
Let's let Haley have it. This is kind of
Okay, Haley, this will be the first of 2 times you get to talk about this, so go ahead.
Okay. So somebody asked Haley Atwell if she would like to be on Doctor Who, and she was like, dude, I'd like to be Doctor Who. And the entire internet exploded.
Boom. I think my phone literally blew up. I had to like piece it back together, and it was, wow. It Wow, it was big.
Yeah, because that's some major fandoms that you're mashing together. And we already know that our love of Haley Atwell knows no bounds.
That's actually true.
Yep.
As it should.
Right. So, okay, since you are on a Doctor Who podcast, Haley, what do you think?
I would love it. I think in general she's probably too young for the role of the Doctor. And I don't know if they would... Like, there's been a lot of talk about having a woman play the Doctor. I don't know if they'd actually do it or not.
Yeah, based on, you guys had a conversation on this very recently on Gallifrey Public Radio, which is also on the Gonna Geek Network, about Doctor Who. And if you're excited about the Doctor Who new Series 9, you got that right, Haley? Series 9?
Yes.
It will be coming up shortly, and go check out Gallifrey Public Radio. They will be walking you through Series 9 week by week. But you guys talked about it, and you talked about how there's an old guard, like all the doctors, and then I think it was Keir that came up with it, but it could have been you, that said, well, they just think that the only person that could be the Doctor was themselves, right?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, so I agree with that everybody that's been in the roles, like, nobody can do it better than me, but they go into it at this point in time knowing that somebody's going to take it after them. So it's like, it's a dichotomy where you have to have the big head to be the Doctor, but at the same time, and then you're scared. Every one of them, the last few, from Tennant, Smith, Capaldi, every one of them says, yes, I'm going to be the Doctor, and then the first day of filming, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm the Doctor. But then they grow into the role, and they move on. And that synopsis about maybe a year and a half, 2 years of Gallifrey Public Radio for you. Anyway, so you have this going on, and you also have the producers, which are staunchly male, mostly, thinking, no, it's got to be a male. So I don't know. When do you think is the right time to make this transition?
Now. Well, maybe not now. Let Peter Capaldi be it for
Yeah,
a while
I
longer,
think
'cause I like him.
Yeah, as Stephen Moffat is wont to say, there's not currently an opening for that position.
I would agree. But you have had Missy, or the Master, gender swap, so it is a possibility now. Yeah.
And I think because they just did that, that's why they wouldn't do a female Doctor right away.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. Haley definitely, I mean, maybe she wasn't setting herself up for it today. Maybe she was setting herself up for it 5-10 years down the road. What do you think about that?
I am fine with it. I am 100% on board with this. But I don't think they're going to ask me when they make the casting decision.
They should, because you make such
should.
great casting decisions. Absolutely.
BBC, I am available. Hire me now.
And of course, Haley Atwell, her most recent tweet was, wow, one playful comment about playing the Doctor and the internet goes nuts. And then a few emojis.
Because she likes emojis.
Well,
She does, and she's adorable.
you know, all the Marvel actors want to be in Star Wars, so this was just another step. And do you think she knew she was going to drop that big of a bomb, or do you think she was just like...
No, I think she was just goofing off on Twitter, like
Yeah.
she always does.
Yeah.
She's awesome. If you haven't followed her, follow her, because they're still
Seriously,
doing
you're
that.
missing out.
They're doing that dub smash war still. It's
My
fun.
God.
It's fun. All right, Lauren, we got some Jessica Jones. What do we got?
Yes. Okay. So this leaked earlier today, and I saw it, and I did a little happy dance. Okay. So on the Mary Sue, they have the leaked episode titles and, for the most part, run times of a bunch of the episodes. There's 13 episodes, and they all start with AKA and then whatever. Like the first one is AKA Ladies Night, and so on and so on. And yeah, oh my God, it's happening. It's all happening.
Once again, we don't have a definitive date, but we're thinking sometime in late November, early December, right?
That's kind of what it's seeming like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
So we'll probably be talking about this and Agent Carter at the same time.
yeah,
So
and Star
two
Wars.
awesome women, and oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
I know, it's great, isn't it?
Need a minute?
I need a minute. Oh my God.
Okay.
It's all happening.
So we're going to talk next about Civil War, and I just want to point out, my son, Sandrock, went to go see Ant-Man today. He had a day off. He starts school in a couple of days, so he's like, oh, what do I do? I'm like, well, you can go see a movie. So he's like, which should I see, Mission Impossible or Ant-Man? I'm like, both are good. I would go see Ant-Man first, but that's just me. And so he did, and then he only strayed for the one shawarma scene, and then he called me and said, was there a shawarma scene? I said, yeah, there was two. He's like, no, wait a minute. I saw one. You're telling me there was two? It's like, yeah, it was two. It was a Civil War scene that was actually filmed during the filming of Civil War that they put on as the shawarma scene for Ant-Man. He's like, I missed that? Like, yeah.
It's a shame you had to disown your son.
Up until now, I would have said you raised the kid right, Star Pie.
Well, I did have him go see Ant-Man versus Mission Impossible, but okay. He said he had to go to the bathroom, and he thought he'd be fine not going back into the theater, but okay.
Hey, I held it for 3 hours at this the Two Towers. Okay,
It was just 3 hours. It wasn't the 4 or 5 hour extended version.
This was the theatrical version. Like the first night, like midnight. So no, it wasn't the 4-hour version.
Okay. So anyway, Anthony Mackie and Chris Evans were at D23.
Yes.
Is this a spoiler?
No, they were okay. Spoiler: they're adorable idiots.
And why?
Because so they're just wandering around. They're supposed to be doing press for Civil War, and mostly it's just Chris Evans, possibly slightly drunk, definitely very happy, talking about how much they love Disney and how adorable everyone is and how blue Chris Pine's eyes are. No, I'm not kidding on that last one. And
wait a minute, Chris Evans. I thought Captain America couldn't get drunk.
Captain America might not. Chris Evans definitely can.
Oh.
But yeah, like we're watching the video and I'm laughing, and then my husband walks up and he's like, he is drunk as hell. Like when he's like rubbing his face on the microphones and stuff.
He was happy because his Fantastic Four movies made more money.
Oh my God. That would be amazing.
Who's got the bad Fantastic Four movie now? Not me. Mine did pretty good.
But yeah, no, these videos are worth watching.
Oh, okay. Now I'm picturing him rubbing the microphone on his face and then being like, okay, imagine that, but everywhere.
Oh my God.
I do that every podcast. You guys just don't know. I mute my mic.
This podcast was great while it lasted, guys.
Microphone everywhere? Dear God.
All right. So Hugh Jackman has said that the Wolverine movie is going to be his last. We've known this for a while, but he speaks up again.
I had not realized, and I guess I'm a Wolverine poser, but I hadn't realized what the top request was. I mean, I should have been very upset that it was missing all this time.
What, nudity? What? What's going on?
Go ahead, it's your story.
Oh, okay. Yeah. A lot of calls for Victor Creed to come back. Okay, I was way off on that one.
No, I was thinking a different one.
Okay. So we might get Sabretooth back.
Oh.
No words on how much clothes he'll be wearing.
I mean, this is okay. And tangent here. I'll try to get back quickly. Sabretooth in the X-Men movies, boo.
Right.
Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth should have been tremendous, but not the best movie. Liev Schreiber in the movie Goon, the hockey movie.
Oh, yeah.
He's really scary in that. He's really formidable. I wish you could somehow take that performance and transplant that into his wolf or his Sabretooth.
There were just a lot of problems with the Origins movie. I don't think we can place it all on him.
Yeah.
Right. Every time I always, in terms of hockey movies, for some reason, Youngblood is always above Goon, in my opinion. And it's just, I just forget about Goon, and I don't know
Goon,
why.
not the greatest movie.
I know, but neither is Youngblood. Let's face it. But it's a hockey movie, so I'm kind of stuck with it. Like Slapshot.
What else do you have on your list of what people wanted to see? I'm curious if you're going to mention what I had in mind.
Well, Lauren wanted nudity.
Yeah, well, duh. I mean,
No, I'm okay without his nudity.
I think we probably saw
But if
as
you want
much
some,
of
I
Hugh
understand.
Jackman as we're allowed to see in Days
I
of
don't wanna
Future
deny
Past.
that to you.
only in a PG-13 movie and only from one angle. So, if we could just go hard R.
Well, they did go R for the Wolverine.
Okay, yeah, but
we
again,
still, yeah.
Yeah,
Come
maybe it's
on.
not too late to
all
work
I'm
him
saying
into
is equal
Deadpool.
opportunity, full frontal.
And with the ratings evolving and things getting more and more risque, R today is going to be very different than R in 15 or 20 years.
Oh my gosh, I watched 16 Candles with my oldest
Yeah,
kid.
there's full-on boobs in that
and
movie.
she was like, "What? Rated PG?" They said what, and they showed what?
Yeah.
They
That was
paid
very
the
different time.
MCAA a lot of money for that rating. All right. So moving on, Stark Expo.
But sorry,
Yeah.
Wolverine Berserker Rage is what I never noticed was missing.
Okay.
That was one of the elements that fans were asking for, and they said that, and I thought, that's it. That's what, I mean, among many things that have been missing from the Wolverine movies, that is it. That's what I need to see before I die. I need to see a Wolverine Berserker Rage on screen. Just going nuts and, not necessarily flesh flying off of the bone, but some kind of version of it.
You might get that in the TV series. The live-action X-Men TV series that's rumored to be in development.
I hadn't heard about that. I've been a bad interneter, really.
Yeah, it's kind of tucked in there. I think we talked about it on Legends on the 5-year anniversary podcast, on Legends podcast, and
We talked about it on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. last week too. I think
Okay.
that it's something that's in negotiations right now, but there's no final word on it yet.
yeah, it was rumor, and then it got even bigger rumor. Like, no kidding, this is actually in negotiations, and then I haven't heard anything yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, Fox will greenlight it just so they can cancel it.
Yeah.
It'll make all the money that Gotham didn't. Oh,
Oh.
See,
What?
now, I
Is there a
did.
show called Gotham? I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, and yeah.
and there was anyone else?
So, okay, we're going to talk Gotham. There's a couple of notes that we have to make. I know this is a Marvel podcast and not the DC podcast, but because of the benevolence of the DC Batman, and I think we have to tip our hats off to him. He got in a nasty car accident and passed away. So our hats are off to the DC Batman. And then also the Yvonne Craig, which was the original Batgirl in the 66 Batman series, also passed away due to natural
Rest
causes.
in peace.
Absolutely.
Oh, she was wonderful.
Yeah. So, couple of great people, both different eras, but both related to the Batman genre. So, just a little tip there. Okay, so are we done with the Wolverine, guys?
I think so.
Okay. So, Stark Expo at Disney Hong Kong. I actually saw a selfie that Stark and Pepper Potts, we'll call them Stark and Pepper Potts, took. So, what's going on with that?
Okay, so again, D23, all the park information, expansion stuff. Among the other stuff, including Star Wars stuff, Avatar, Toy Story, all of which sounds pretty awesome and made me scream every time it would be like, and then this is happening. So Disney World Hong Kong is, I'm super jealous because they're getting the Iron Man experience in 2016, and it's going to be the Stark Expo, and they're going to have the opportunity to meet and take photos with Iron Man himself when the Iron Man experience opens in 2016. And I'm not sure what all it's going to entail, but it'll probably be pretty awesome.
If
I
anybody-
think it's supposed to go in like their Tomorrowland section.
if anybody's going to be able to make a real Iron Man, I would gather it be somewhere along the lines of Hong Kong or Japan or somewhere over there, because they love their robotics.
Okay, so it's not. Okay, speaking of robotics, Boston Dynamics, the company that made the Big Dog, have you seen their humanoid one that like walks through the wood like a movie serial killer?
Yeah.
Oh, that thing's creepy.
It is, and
It's cool, but it's just creepy.
Yeah.
It's very uncanny valley to me with the movement.
right.
And it does, in fact, walk like a movie serial killer.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go on YouTube. You'll find it, and it's trailed by, I guess, a power/control cord or something like that. It just it's kind of Terminator-esque-ish too. So yeah, go check that out. Okay, and our last Marvel news story for the week, we have Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Yes, this Marvel announced this past week that their newest superhero in a series that's coming out soon is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So Devil Dinosaur is actually a Marvel character. I play their phone game, Marvel Puzzle Quest, and I actually have Devil Dinosaur as one of the characters. And it's originally from a 1978 comic by Jack Kirby about Red T-Rex and Moon Boy, his little friend. And Devil Dinosaur stuck around, Moon Boy didn't really. So now, Moon Girl, who's a preteen super genius, is going to be Devil Dinosaur's companion. And they're going to go around and have adventures. They want something that's like an all-ages story, like a Pixar feel. And I don't know, it looks kind of cool. I like the design sketches. I like the cover. And I always wanted a dinosaur when I was a kid. So I am kind of digging this idea. So
Jurassic Park didn't deter you from that at all?
Oh, Jurassic Park only made me want it more.
I have always been of the I've always felt like if I have to get eaten by a dinosaur and that's the price I pay for getting to see a real life dinosaur, I'm fine with that.
Ditto. No, see, what I always wanted was I wanted the full-sized herbivores. I wanted like a triceratops to ride to work on or to school or whatever. And then I wanted a pack of hunting raptors, but I wanted the ones that are accurately sized or else a little smaller, the ones that are about the size of small dogs.
I want a Velociraptor, Ford F-150 style.
Nah. Why would you want that when you can have dinosaurs?
Because I need something to outrun the dinosaurs.
No, you could just have the dinosaurs chase down people you don't like.
Oh, yeah, that has a very interesting. Yeah, I might need. Okay, we'll talk later. Okay, and then also D23 note: a fan of the cast, Christy, has a lot of pictures from the event itself and her travels back and forth to D23. So go check out her Twitter feed, and we thank you very much for including us in those tweets. We really appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, that's it for the news, unless anybody has anything else. Are we all good?
Nope. Wait, I mean, no, I have no more news. Yep, I'm all good.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, what she said.
I just asked too many questions all at once, don't I, Ferris?
What?
All right, here we go. Woohoo! You can get a hold of us. Call our voicemail line, get a hold of us on Twitter, on Facebook, and we will be eternally grateful and then read the feedback on the podcast. Also, iTunes reviews, we can do with that as well. So next week, we're going to discuss the penultimate, I was going to say it now, but Ferris beat me to it. The penultimate Daredevil episode, 12, Season 1, The Ones We Leave Behind. We will have a special guest with us in studio. His name is Jay.
I know that guy.
Yeah. So when does the next series of Doctor Who air? I keep forgetting. It's September?
I think it's September 19th.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly 1 month from when we are recording.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Coming up.
So it might be like maybe the day before this podcast comes out, so we'll see. So yeah, that is coming up. We'll have Jay in studio, and it'll be awesome to have him back. We have a website, legendsofshield.com, that will take you to our page on the Gonna Geek Network. The voicemail line is 844-THE-BUS-1. I missed the bus, R.I.P. bus. 844-843-2871. And if anybody has any more detailed specs of the new bus, I want to see them, because I haven't been able to see them yet. And I'm sure they exist because we saw them at the end of the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We have a Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube channel where you can find all of our podcasts, as well as forums, forums.gonnageek.com, and you can get a hold of us there. Thank you very much, Mr. Ferris, for joining us. We really appreciate all your expertise and creativity throughout the Daredevil arc you made this summer possible.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. Looking forward to doing season 2 with you, and hopefully we'll pop up here and there between now and then. But everybody, thank you for listening. Thanks for making it possible. Always a pleasure.
So if somebody's searching for you, they're like, I need to know more about this Ferris guy. What would they do besides stalking you? What would they do?
You can go to simplest way, Twitter, DX Ferris at Twitter, DX Ferris. My publishing press, 6623 Press. We make books about pop culture, success, and other cool stuff.
Awesome.
So check us out, 6623press.com.
I have purchased your books and read them, and they are good. I will personally vouch for them. So there you go.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So thank you to everybody that's listening on Mixlr. We really appreciate you, and YouTube. It's great to have everybody in the chat as well. So thank you very much. You make us go. Right, Haley?
Yes, we appreciate everything everyone does for us throughout the week, sending us little bits of news or things to make us go, ha! That's awesome.
Like the Haley Atwell stuff. That was great.
Things that make us go, squee!
had a lot of crossover on multiple social networks between Gallifrey Public Radio and Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was great.
Hey, thank you, chat people, too.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks to everyone on the chat, everyone who checks in with us on any social media site, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Just
big shout out. I'm seeing guest 206. I'm seeing Adam Nelson and Awesome Engineering Girl. Thanks for tuning in.
Is it? Is it really?
That's me.
All right.
I'm sorry, Lauren. I cut you off.
No, it was just thanks. Y'all are awesome.
You are, and you will continue to tweet whatever we are watching the Tuesday before the podcast. Is that correct?
Indeed.
All right. Until next time, I'm Agent Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
I'm Agent Lauren.
I am Intern Ferris, still eagerly awaiting my lanyard.
We're still eagerly waiting our coffee.
Bye.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all of our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual host and do not represent Legends, Stream, or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation. No infringement is intended.